Yeah.
Can we hear you?
Order 77.
7, yes.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, I want to put to the member that certificate of urgency is part of our rules. It's not that we are beating about the system, and debates are allowed. That's why we are at second reading stage. So I don't know what he calling us. We are not following the procedure. Thank you.
Honorable member, sit down. Honorable member, in fact, I have just noted that down. We are following the due process, as you rightly said. We are not doing anything which is not due process. The bill at the various stages going on is a process. This is another process. There's another process. They are all due processes.
Thank you.
That's what he was trying to put
Thank you
across.
very much, Honorable Speaker. If we want, we can reject it at this stage. We have that power before debating on it. Yes, if we have right, we can reject it. That we follow the due process. That's what I mean. Okay, so that we can follow the right channel.
Honorable member, you see, we don't want you to signal that the assembly is working without due process. This is a process and is due and is legal. So that's what we want to avoid. You're making us look like we are doing something illegally.
Please do that statement.
We said it. I said it in a way that you will understand, but it seems as you want to repeat it. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'm still on my feet. Yes. Now, Honorable Speaker, this bill, it was looked at by the 5th legislature. And others are saying that we should not give it again to FPAC. Why not? Are we in the 5th legislature? Are we in the 5th legislature? We are not in the 5th legislature. What is stopping us to give it to this 6th legislature to do justice on it? Honorable Speaker, when we look at Section 5, that is the composition of the board, there, you look at the chairperson, there is no qualification mentioned there as to what qualifications should the chairperson should have. And if you look at the 2014 Act, Procurement, 2014 Procurement Act, you look at the people who are the composition of that, there is an auditor. But now, if you look at the new one, there is an accountant general there. And the honorable member for Upper Salem, is it Upper Salem? He's saying that they have looked at the bill, but there was some changes. They are not the same as the current one. They are not the same as the current one. This is why, Honorable Speaker, I see dim to reject it and follow the due process. Thank you very much.
Honorable member, I think you should very much do well to look at your standing orders and the Constitution. No, please, just be quiet, please. Honorable member, please. Honorable member, when I'm talking, keep quiet. You are talking, I listen to you. Honorable, don't push me to the border, please. Be gentle enough. Yeah. What I want you to understand is, please read your standing orders properly and the Constitution. 2, Honorable, if I'm talking, please keep quiet. You are going contrary to the standing order. Once more, I don't want that repetition. Please read your standing. I don't want you to insinuate publicly and making us look as we don't know what we are doing. We will not tolerate that. In as much as you have an opinion, it must be according to the Constitution and the standing orders. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. It provides for the president to demand a meeting of the parliament. So what can you do about that? unless you go to a referendum and change it. So what we are saying is, this is another process. The process you are used to, here, committing it to the various committees. I read a portion for you, and I think I need to read it for you again. And that is by our own standing orders. The standing order says, let me read that for you to better understand where we are. Listen, honorable members, standing order 77.3. A bill to which a certificate of urgency attaches may be proceeded with throughout all its stages, and the assembly shall not be counted out or adjourned, except upon a motion made by the vice president or a minister in charge of the bill, until such bill has been read a third time. These are all laws. You cannot commit it to a bill. You cannot stop it. I cannot adjourn it. The only adjournment we can have is when the mover of the motion himself says, we can now adjourn until another this time. Besides that, we cannot. So please, honorable member.
Can I come in?
I just want you to know that
yes, I know,
don't make general statements that makes people look funny.
No,
that's
thank
not
you
the
very
place.
much. I read the standing order. I know.
Honorable member, we now move to the honorable member for Tumanna.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I don't think we need to waste more time on this. I will quickly rush on to join my colleagues to register my appreciation and my thanks to the ministry and of course the GPPA and all the stakeholders that took part in the formulation of this bill. If you look into the bill, I know for sure it has met the standard of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, that is the UNCAC, the African Union Convention on Prevention and Combating Corruption, also it has met that standard. And also ECOWAS Protocol on the fight against corruption. So even with this alone, I believe this bill needs to be passed, and we all need to add our blessing to it, because the world is advancing, so we need to advance with the world. And these conventions that I have just mentioned, those are very standard ones, and we need to emulate them. And I think this particular bill is on the right track to emulate them. However, there are some issues that I am very much happy about them being part of this bill. That is the e-procurement, which is very, very important. Money is very emotional, very tempted. When it involves physical cash, it can encourage corruption. But I believe this bill is here to address that. Open tendering system is also very, very important as far as procurement is concerned, and the bill also is here to address that too. The emergency procurement regulations in it also is something that should push us to support this bill. Addressing the weakness of the Gambia Procurement Act 2014, this in general, in its totality, it is to address the weaknesses of the current act that we are having. So therefore, it is important for us to give our blessing and be behind the effort to make sure the act is being passed. This act will also eliminate the abuse of emergency for single sourcing procurement. We've all heard it from the people here that have more understanding about procurement, and they have defended those points, and it has been cleared. The anti-corruption bill, I believe that my colleagues are talking about it, doesn't have anything to do with this other bill. This one is under the Ministry of Finance, and the anti-corruption bill is under the Ministry of Justice. So these ones have done their work, we can say it. And we also believe that Justice also is doing their work, bringing with the anti-corruption bill. But we should not connect them so much so that we say this one's supposed to come first before this one will come. I think we have to applaud them for bringing this one at this particular time. Honorable Speaker, I submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Tumanna. I now invite the Honorable Member for Sani Mentoring.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'll go straight to the point, Honorable Speaker. And I think this bill is long overdue to be tabled before this August Assembly to be passed. And some of my reasons are, Honorable Speaker, in this particular bill, which I have gone through, that this is the bill that gives right to benefit of tenders for goods, services, and works to youths, women, and physically challenged in particular. Honorable Speaker, this is also the bill giving right to specifically Gambians to be eligible for participation in a tender and award of contracts, which a bidder shall provide evidence of his or her eligibility under this act. Honorable Speaker, I will definitely join my colleagues just because of these 2 points for this bill to be passed. Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Member for Sani Mentoring constituency, that is myself, has been crying in this parliament for rights for women. If this bill gives them all rights to be part of these bills or to be part of this bill for tendering or for bidding contracts, obviously, Honorable Speaker, I see no reason why I should not join my honorable colleagues to pass this bill. I'll take my seat, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Sani Mentoring. I now invite the Honorable Nominated Member, Keba Lam Fufana.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. To start with, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the Vice President and all ministers here in present, and extend our gratitude to the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, who have been here with us since yesterday, and he's done a very great job. And before moving further to my deliberation as well, as a member of the FPAC committee, I would like to extend the gratitude of the current FPAC members to the 5th legislature for really giving us the opportunity of transferring some of the consultations that they have done. And later in my deliberations, I will come to that. Honorable Speaker, before going into my deliberation proper, I just want us to establish something. This is the parliament. Everything you do here should be in accordance with the law. Everything we do here should be in accordance with what regulation. So the first thing I want to do is to really look at the conformity of the bill before us against our existing laws, the conformity of the bill against the GPPA Act of 2014, and the conformity of the bill itself against international standards. Honorable Speaker, with reference to Section 98(1) of the Gambia Constitution, with your permission, Honorable Speaker, I will read. Section 98(1) of the Gambia Constitution page 58. I read, subject to Section 97, sitting of the National Assembly shall be at such time as the National Assembly shall appoint, provided that A, when requested to do so by the President. Honorable Speaker, I would like to confirm.
Honorable Member, can you read it properly?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would start again. Point, provided that A, the Speaker shall summon a sitting of the National Assembly when requested to do so by the President. And Honorable Speaker, all of us here in present today know that we are gathered because we received a certificate of urgency. And to look how that certificate of urgency as well confirm to our own internal rules, I would like to direct this House to section 77(1) of the standing orders. And I will read, with your permission, Honorable Speaker. Page 44. I mean, maybe I'm having a different book, huh? 77, certificate of urgency, subsection 1. It reads, provided that where the President certifies that the enactment of a bill is required in public interest as a matter of urgency, that bill may be introduced notwithstanding it has not been published 14 days beforehand. So, Honorable Speaker, the gathering of the Assembly today, the extraordinary session, is lawful. Is in compliance with the Constitution of the land, and is in compliance with the standing orders that regulate our own parliamentary proceedings. Honorable Speaker, I would proceed, still looking at how the bill, which is the GPPA Bill 2022, that we are deliberating on, how does it conform to our current laws? Now, I will do a comparison between it and the GPPA Act of 2014. And those of us who are having the GPPA Act of 2014, I will refer you to the objects and reasons of the Act, which should be at the back page. Those who are having, Honorable Speaker, with your permission, I will read. Under the objects and reasons, after the preamble, you will have A, B, C, and D. And I'll make my quotation at D. And I'll read. It says, address the conflict in responsibilities which may be removed progressively by effectively decentralizing operational procedures, responsibilities to the procuring organizations as this acquire the capacity to carry out, as they acquire the capacity to carry out their duties. Honorable Speaker, having gone through the bill in front of us, you realize that the laws provided herein are progressive ones. And since they are progressive, they are in agreement with the current laws of GPPA. The GPPA Act itself have made the provision for the continuous improvement of the Act to make sure that it will what? Correlate with what emerging challenges. During my presentation, I will come up with some of the emerging challenges and we'll try to tie it down to this one. And Honorable Speaker, the last conformity test I would like to do is the Gambia is not an island. And as such, we have ratified so many international instruments. One of the instruments that this august body ratified was the United Nations Convention Against Corruption. And the United Nations Convention Against Corruption was ratified in this noble house in May 2014. And when you go through the United Nations Convention on Against Corruption, you realize that Article 9 of the convention talks about how do you mitigate corruption practices in what procurement processes. And Honorable Speaker, this is the first time, I would say, this is the first time. If you look at the 2014 bill, of course, the general objective of the bill was to mitigate corruption. But if you go through the current bill that we are having, from its application to the procurement, procedures, to the procurement implementation structures, you would see progressively and consistently all control directives to what? Risk mitigation, towards what? The mitigation of what? Corruption, towards what? Fighting against corruption. So which means the bill beforehand as well is in conformity with international standards. So, Honorable Speaker, our assembly today is lawful. Our assembly today is progressive, and our assembly today is in the best interest of what? The Gambian people, whom all of us have sworn to serve. Honorable Speaker, at this point, I would move on. After the conformity test, I would try to look at the weaknesses that the bill before us seeks to address against what is obtained in the current law. This bill is not made out of vacuum. No one is saying the GDPR Act of 2014 is inefficient. But we are saying the world is moving. We are saying the law itself is not cast in stone. We are saying as new challenges are coming, it is only prudent and proactive that we come out with strategies which are going to address those challenges towards the maintenance of the common good. And Honorable Speaker, to do this, one of the weaknesses of the GDPR Act of 2014 was that it did not advocate for the rights, it did not advocate for the inclusiveness of the disfavored groups. When we talk about the disfavored groups, we are talking about the women. We are talking about the youth. We are talking about the people with disabilities. And Honorable Speaker, at this point, I would like to refer, with your permission, to refer the House to Section 33 of the bill. If we read Section 33 of the bill that we are having, which is domestic preferences, it states, the procuring organizations may grant a margin of preference for the benefit of tenders for goods, services, and works by domestic economic operators or any other preference authorized in the regulation or of any other enactment as for marginalized groups, particularly youth, women, and the physically disabled people. Honorable Speaker, this is progressive. This is inclusiveness. And this is the provision of hope. Honorable Speaker, having talked about that, the other weakness that is inherent in the 2004 GPPA Act, which the current bill seeks to remedy, is about the procurement implementation structures. And if you look at Section 73, from Section 7 to 12, you will see that there are a lot of additions. And these additions are with regards to the contract committee. These additions are making the contract committee more accountable. They are making them more transparent. And they are enhancing public accountability. Because there is, in fact, a provision there which is subjecting the contract committee to make public publications of some of their records within a reasonable time, as permitted by Section 38 of the bill that we are currently looking at. And Honorable Speaker, when we talk about public procurement, there is a lot of public interest. Why? One of the basic reasons is because of the value of money involved. Earlier speakers have said over 70% of the national budget is devoted to procurement. The other main reason why many people are interested in public procurement is because of its frequency. Government have the biggest Government is the biggest partner. Day in, day out, government is buying. And the third issue also is because of the processes involved in public procurement. So many a times, if at all the public perception about the public procurement is adverse, it reduces integrity. It reduces public confidence in the government. So if at all the current bill is mandating the contract committee to publicly disseminate information to the people as to their proceedings, Honorable Speaker, that will be an add-on, and it will bolster public confidence with regards to the procurement system. It will improve our transparency, and eventually it will improve the efficiency of the entire procurement system. Honorable Speaker, another element of weakness which the current bill seeks to address, which was not included in the 2014 DPPA Act, is the issue of e-procurement. Earlier speakers have elaborated extensively on that, and I wouldn't talk much about it, but this is what I want to say. E-procurement will provide that inclusive platform. It will bring about competitiveness. The e-portals, which the bill seeks to enact into a law, would ensure accessibility, will ensure efficiency, and at the end of the day also, it will enhance the dissemination of what information. But most importantly, at it, and eventually we'll start making a lot of savings. So, Honorable Speaker, I believe the current bill is on track. And the last one, which is another weakness, which the current bill seeks to address, is with regards to the emergency procurement. Of course, a lot have been said about COVID. Because we are saying in our laws there are no procedures. There is no provision for emergency. Now the law has been proactive. The law has been progressive. And it doesn't only make the provisions, but it is saying that regulations will be made. So which means tomorrow, public officers or procuring organizations do not have any excuse to say we were caught up in a situation, in a catch-22 situation, whereby we need to act in the interest of the common good, but the law doesn't tell us how to do it. And many of the mismanagements that happened during the COVID relief packages was because there was no governing, was because the law was silent about it. But currently, the bill we have beforehand, if we consider it and enact it into law, there is a clear provision into it, which is going to be regulated, and which will make sure that whenever there are emergencies which requires the intervention of government, there will be clear guidelines for what implementation. And again, the rationale behind procurement is to get maximized value at what enhanced cost. And this can only be attained if at all we have sound and efficient control or implementation mechanisms. Honorable Speaker, the most important principle that this bill seeks to do, which is explicitly expressed in the objects and reasons of the bill, is the quest of the government with regards to institutional reforms. One of the earlier speakers have said it. He said that we have good laws, but we are not good at implementing them. We are not good at implementing them because the institutions we are having needs to be what? Strengthened. Let us look at how this particular bill will reform the key institutions. Let's start from GPPA. Currently, as it is obtained in the GPPA Act of 2014, GPPA is the alpha and omega when it comes to what? Procurement. It starts and ends with them. As a member of EFPAC, I will tell you when they normally come to you, they wouldn't have compliance reports. And when you ask them, they will tell you they have capacity problem. They will tell you they have a lot of work. I sympathize with them. Why do I sympathize with them? Because they are doing something which is not their job. Their job is oversight. Their job is to review. But they are involved in every stage of what the procurement. because that is what the law, the current law, is telling them to do. But what is the bill saying? The bill is saying that GPPA now would certify procuring organizations, which means GPPA will assess the capacity of those organizations. It will assess their ability to ensure that this particular organization have the relevant tools needed with regards to human resource capacity, with regards to the technology or whatnot. All the requisites are present. Then you'll be certified to go ahead. So once that certification is done, now the organization will start doing their procurement. And two things are happening here. The organization will take responsibility because they are no longer getting guidance from GPPA. If GPPA is guiding that organization throughout the procurement process, and tomorrow you want them to come and review them, they are conflicted. They are conflicted. But that element of conflict have been removed. Once they do the certification, the procuring organization and the Directorate of what procurement will go ahead. The Directorate of Procurement is at the operational level. And GPPA now, after this procurement, everything is done, they would now come and do their oversight. To review. Honorable Speaker, that is objectivity. Honorable Speaker, that is specialization. That ensures that each and every institution only takes tax which falls within your core competence, which falls within your responsibility. And that is exactly what this bill stands to do. When considered and enacted into law, GPPA will no longer be conflicted. The procuring organizations will go ahead, do their procurement, and GPPA would certify them and later come and then do what? Their review. That is when you can express an unbiased opinion. That is when the value for money will be achieved. That is when GPPA will be in a position to objectively carry out their mandate. Honorable Speaker, at this particular moment, I will move on to the institutional reforms, which means one, the bill seeks to give opposition GPPA responsible for their customary role of what? Certification and review. The procuring organizations haven't been certified, haven't passed all the benchmarks, would take ownership of their what? Procurement. And at the end of the day, they'll be reviewed by GPPA. But the bill is saying we are not stopping there. There's another layer of what? Control. After the certification by GPPA, the bill is saying the National Audit Office shall perform audit on what? Procuring transactions. Honorable Speaker, I'm one of the people who is on record during the adjournment debate. And I did say that corruption have passed the stage where people take their hand and dip it into government coffers. I did say that corruption is on the processes. And the only way that we can enhance the public finance management system that we come up with efficient tools. And I did say that the much talk about anti-corruption bill we are talking about, if at all we do not have the legal instruments, even if at all it is enacted into law, we'll have problems in the operational stage. And Honorable Speaker, I want to say this. Today I'm happy because this bill is giving us those financial instruments. This bill is positioning us better to embrace the enactment of the anti-corruption bill. Honorable Speaker, today, We all know how the procurement system is going about. I'm not going to be subjective. I will only deliberate on things that we can prove. What is objective is the fact that you cannot be responsible for oversight and at the same time be responsible at every stage of the implementation. The similitude will be, if you should have taken a member of the FPAC committee or the chairman of the FPAC committee and you tell him today, be a board member in GAMTEL, or be a board member in GPPA, or be a board member in NAVEC. And tomorrow, you want those institutions to come back and report to what? FPAC. Do you expect FPAC to do their job efficiently? No. Because already they have lost the moral authority to question that. Honorable Speaker, the other important addition that this bill is bringing is procurement principles. And with the procurement principles, I would like to refer this House to Section 20 of the bill, page 25, Section 20A. It says, Section 20, subsection 1, the procurement principles that shall govern all public procurement processes in the Gambia are the following. A, maximize economy, efficiency in procurement to achieve value for money. Honorable Speaker, this is as good as we're talking about performance auditing. Procurement should be guided by the 3 E's: efficiency, effectiveness, and economy. This cannot be attained if at all we do not have the institutions. But this again cannot be attained if at all these institutions are not there strictly confined to their core principles. Honorable Speaker, before going ahead with procurement, one should ask yourself first, why the need for it? The over 70% of our national budget we are talking about. Do we have tangible reason that all of those procurements were necessary? But the law was not giving us any opportunity to do otherwise. But currently this bill is giving us the opportunity to ask why this. Before you procure anything, the rationale behind procurement is to make sure that you buy at the most affordable price that does not in any way compromise the quality. That's when you can talk about efficiency. If you have basically, with regards to the action or inaction of FPAC. One thing I want to tell this August floor is, the FPAC from the 5th legislature did provide us with the GPPA position paper with regards to the 2020 bill that was presented to them. They did equally provide us with the Women's Business Advocacy Group Domestic Preferences, their position paper. And they did also give us the position paper of what? GCCI. So it means we were not empty-handed. Fine, they did not complete the bill, but Honorable Mbo here was generous enough to disseminate to all members the information they've received from what their consultations. And Honorable Speaker, many people have talked about corruption. And the way they've talked about it is like, why this bill and not the anti-corruption bill? This is what I would say. Both of them are important. But many a times, the problem we have in this country is we are guided by emotion. That's why many honorable members stood in this floor and will be like, we have good laws, but we do not enforce them. Because we go ahead and enact laws without making sure that the structures which should make those laws efficient, which should help in the implementation of those laws, are not present. Any advocate for the anti-corruption bill should be happy today. Because there will be no functional anti-corruption bill if at all you don't have a functional GPPA, which is about public procurement. 90% of corruption is in procurement. 90% of it. Because today, if you look at the parliament, all government expenditures are what's scrutinized. After the audited financial statements are prepared by the Office of the National Audit Office, they are sent to what FPAC. So it means it is not the physical transfer of money. Money is in the processes. Now this bill is saying, let us sanitize those processes. So in effect, what is the bill doing? The bill is promoting the principles of what? Anti-corruption. So, Honorable Speaker, at this point, I want to join all the members who have advocated for the consideration of this bill. But I would conclude by saying that the bill is progressive, the bill is timely, and if we implement it, it will definitely help towards the operational efficiency of GPPA. It will definitely help towards the operational efficiency of our budget execution. But most importantly, it will make sure that the common good is protected. On that note, Honorable Speaker, thank you.